Ebisan fa ha eye Cöurt TV. Bisu eni dem sene eno face the we neighbor Cöurt TV so a. Meso so versus kawami na washa so other platform. Now ama comment or comment section na say. E mo we mfisu se obebu notification bell no so man sembi e be block Cöurt TV no. Why first na wonya nsam bi eti no hu ne ekoso e wo magana eni wi ase afni na mo amu ho ba fefe se minya betena se de eno memu nsam e twegu e wo magana ena mede bro na so nye bi eti no hu ne ekoso e wo magana mu into order for kame ho na menu mi nnuane nkopi mo ye otafo si kopi mo otafo de ene otafo MP ene ye nim so okopi mo ene okopi mo ye Supreme Court a enya asam ketwa e wo ho ni na fa eye na ye papa Mahama eye president na sentia eye papa ekopi mo eye Supreme Court ni na ejina eye suspension eye na ye president Mahama edema eye Chief Justice a chese kwanyo fa so or this suspension no emano no ense emfata emfa emra kwanso a chese pepe okopi mo hom no ne noya ene chese okopi mo nsam ne de aye bebe ntie tinse aye MPC bebe so tam anase be so mre eno se be so ni de no aka ho ni na yakwa akwaje nsam no ntwiremu ni wia na asanso aba ebedi ho nkomo mo amunim se Cöurt TV de yetumra yechire esie medam say
court where today is expected to hear an injunction application today seeking to halt the suspension and removal process of the Chief Justice Couŕt. The application argues that the president must give the Chief Justice an opportunity to respond before proceeding with consultation on her removal. Now, the Attorney General, however, maintains that the president cannot be restrained from carrying out his constitutional duties. And I'll stay with you, Lateef. What's the current update with that in the Supreme Court?
So, MFR, the updates on this particular case is that when the case was called, from the outset, the former Attorney General, Godfrey Adame, raised an objection to the acting Chief Justice, Bafo Boni, participating in the panel that is hearing the case. It was the case of Godfrey Adame that Justice Bafo Boni cannot set up a panel and then come and preside over the same panel, a panel that is hearing a substantive matter regarding a suspended Chief Justice. It was his case that Justice Bafo Boni stands to personally benefit regarding the outcome of this particular case. And so he described it as improper for the acting Chief Justice to participate in this particular hearing. The court or the panel has to go on a brief recess, and when they returned, they delivered a verdict. And the verdict was that the objection or the initial objection raised by the former Attorney General was unanimously overruled. That is number one. Number two, Godfrey Adame also raised issue regarding the panel in its entirety. His argument this time was that when the case was called earlier, I think weeks ago, the panel that sat was totally different from the panel we are seeing today seated behind me in the Supreme Court. And so the explanation given was that Justice Poorman, we know the president has appointed him to be part of the committee that is investigating the Chief Justice.
Right.
Justice Asiedu, we also know, is part of the committee set up by the president. These two individuals were part of the initial panel that sat here at the Supreme Court on this particular matter. So we heard Justice Amadou Tanko put a question to Godfrey Adame that would he be comfortable to see Justice Poorman today sitting on the panel? Would he be happy seeing Justice Asiedu today sitting on the panel, knowing very well that the two of them have been appointed by the president to be part of the committee that is investigating the matter in itself? Then he watered his position down, and so that objection was also overruled. Number three, which is substantive, is that Godfrey Adame has now withdrawn the initial application that sought to injunct the president from forwarding or from beginning the processes of hearing the matter involving the petitions that are coming. And so he wanted, or his client wanted to injunct the president from carrying out the processes. today in court, Godfred Dame has withdrawn that particular application, and the Supreme Court had taken a clue from that and declared that it's been withdrawn and struck out. That is an explanation I need to give further. That the initial application by Asafwa to injunct President Mahama from going ahead with the processes, the procedure to suspend the Chief Justice, to potentially remove her from office, that application has been withdrawn by Godfred Dame, and the court, the Supreme Court, has taken a clue from that and has ruled that that application has been withdrawn and struck out. What is being heard right now in the Supreme Court is the suspension of the Chief Justice itself. That is the substantive matter that is being heard. Godfred Dame has made a submission. His submission is that right from the outset, the president committed a constitutional violation when he failed to inform the Chief Justice or the suspended Chief Justice, Gertrude Tokonu, about the two petitions he had received. He said failure by the president to do that constitutes an egregious constitutional violation, and so that cannot be remedied. That is the idea or the position of Godfred Dame, that once the violation has taken place, it cannot be remedied. And so he wants the court to declare the processes so far null and void. The Deputy Attorney General, Justice Shremsai, as we speak, is on his feet making his own submission in the Supreme Court, countering the argument or the submissions by Godfred Dame. In his case, there has not been any constitutional breach, and even if that happened, it's been remedied. And let's just bring in this context, because the panel in itself engaged on the point that the panel engaged Godfred Dame for a very long time. They needed him to explain to them the level of the breach that had taken place. In fact, one of the justices kept insisting and asking Godfred Dame to point the panel to the part of the Article 146 of the Constitution that stipulates clearly that this is the timeline within which the president is expected to notify the Chief Justice that I have received a petition asking for your removal from office. That question was posed to Godfred Dame, I think about 5 times, that point us to that provision in the Constitution that says that the president has to notify the Chief Justice on day 1 or on day 2 of receiving the said petition. Point us to that provision. Godfred Dame was unable to point to any provision that stipulates timeline within which the president is supposed to notify the Chief Justice when he receives a petition asking for the removal of the Chief Justice. That is absent in the provision. And so they made it clear to the Attorney General that indeed, once he is unable to point the panel to that provision, then the argument of an egregious constitutional violation by the president is a bit problematic. 2, the panel also make the argument that what Godfred Dame and his client are asking the court to do is to injunct the president from performing an executive function, a constitutional duty. And the Constitution in itself also frowns on that you cannot enjoin someone from executing a constitutional duty. And so the case, the argument is being made by Justice Shremsai. We are missing out on that. We don't know his submissions to countering
I will let you go back into the court so that you can get the update on that. And maybe when you come back in our subsequent bulletins, you can give us an update on the cocaine bust as well that's supposed to be heard at the Cöurt court today.
Yeah, it's been adjourned to tomorrow at 10 a.m. because some applications were not made as expected.
Right. Thank you. Thank you. Charles Bisu has been granted a 200,000 Ghana cedis court bail with 2 sureties, one to be justified. The accused person has also been ordered to submit his passport to the court registrar and report to the OSP once every month. His accomplice, Thomas Owusu, has also been granted same bail conditions. Mr. Bisu is accused of receiving bribes and accepted gifts as a public officer to bypass illegal requirements for mining license approvals. Let's get some details from our legal affairs correspondent, Lateef Bisu, who joins me now. Lateef, what's the current update? We know that, yes, he's been granted a bail, but what has happened so far?
Yeah, so additionally, like you pointed out, Charles Bisu and the accomplice, Thomas Owusu, are expected to seek the express permission from the courts before embarking on any foreign travels, which means that they cannot move out of jurisdiction without the express permission of the court. As we speak, Charles Bisu and his accomplice are on a frantic saying that they need the express permission of the court to embark on any foreign travel. And so as we speak, Charles Bisu and Thomas Owusu are on a frantic adventure to secure or execute this particular bail conditions. And this is not a mean job. They have to go to this landed property in Accra, verify that indeed these landed properties exist, and then the evaluation will take place to make sure that it meets a certain amount before Charles Bisu and his accomplice are granted this particular bail. As we speak now, they are to be in the custody of the Office of the Special Prosecutor. Once they are able to meet this particular bail conditions, they will now enjoy this particular bail term. Lawyer for Charles Bisu made the submission that his client is due to travel out of the jurisdiction within the shortest possible time, and so wanted some variation in terms of the bail conditions. But the judge insisted that she has made her ruling, and that is that. And so that was the outcome of this particular case. And Charles Bisu is now on a court bail, 200,000, two sureties, one to be justified, landed property in Accra, needs the express permission of the court to embark on any foreign travel, and the case is back in court on the 29th.
Perfect. And I will go to the mining. Charles Bisu has been granted a 200,000 Ghana cedis court bail with two sureties, one to be justified. The accused person has also been ordered to submit his passport to the court registrar and report to the OSP once every month. His accomplice, Thomas Owusu, has also been granted same bail conditions. Mr. Bisu is accused of receiving bribes and accepted gifts as a public officer to bypass illegal requirements for mining license approvals. Let's get some details from our legal affairs correspondent, Lateef Bisu, who joins me now. Lateef, what's the current update? We know that, yes, he's been granted a bail, but what has happened so far?
Yeah, so additionally, like you pointed out, Charles Bisu and the accomplice, Thomas Owusu, are expected to seek the express permission from the courts before embarking on any foreign travels, which means that they cannot move out of jurisdiction without the express permission of the court. As we speak, Charles Bisu and his accomplice are on a frantic saying that they need the express permission of the court to embark on any foreign travel. And so as we speak, Charles Bisu and Thomas Owusu are on a